welcome to Fanatics and Fan. I've missed you guys. Welcome back. Yay! How are you guys holding up?
Living.
Do you want the honest
doing
truth?
That good, are you?
I'm alive. I consider it a win, okay? As long as I'm still breathing.
Hold on, wait. Brandon, where'd your head go? When you sit back, your head disappears. That's how we think of you whenever we think about you. So
headless? Me too.
Yeah.
Because I can't see it. I just don't know it's there.
Welcome to another stay-at-home edition of Fanatics and Fan. We've got a very great show planned for you. Staying at home nowadays means a lot of binging and re-binging and binging again, and day drinking. But Joey's going to get help for that.
You're going to come help me? Is that what you said?
Yes.
You have to bring your own with you because I'm not sharing, if that's what you meant.
See, that sounds like Joey. A lot of great things coming up for Fanatics and Fan, as well as Pop Goes the Culture. I have a surprise for everybody, but I've got an even bigger surprise or bigger news that I want to talk about, and my shirt is a little bit example of it. So before we get any much started, let's go with our one and only great news article of the day. Tell us about it, Joey Mills from Pop Goes the Culture.
So yeah, I don't know if you guys heard with everything else going on. SpaceX successfully launched on Saturday, successfully docked with the International Space Station this morning. First time in 9 years we've had a manned spacecraft leave the Earth's atmosphere. So yeah, I mean, we're finally going back, and we're doing it with rockets that you can land on a dime and reuse and refuel. So it's an exciting time to be a space nerd right now.
This is something that's done. This has been in the works for several years, if I'm not mistaken.
About a decade, yeah. Right before NASA got rid of the shuttle program. So it's taken a while to get there, but and of course we've all seen, or I imagine we've seen, the SpaceX launches and trials where they've trying to land the rockets on the floating platforms and stuff. So yeah, it's taken a while to get here, but we finally have U.S. astronauts in space using a craft launched from a NASA facility, as opposed to hitching a ride with other nations. So it's exciting stuff.
I imagine guys like Brandon outside of the Russian embassy with hitchhiking with their thumb. Hey, can I get a ride? Can I get a ride? So
you still can do it.
Show of hands. Who wants to beat Emily already knows the question. I want to go. When this becomes everyday life, who's going? Who's taking off to other worlds as quickly as possible?
Space tourism? Fuck yeah. Oh wait, can I say that?
So y'all are a lot richer than I am.
Depends on how long it takes to get there, because usually it's like this is a lifelong journey, and you leave everyone you love behind. I don't know if I'm here for that, but
Brandon is still going.
In 10 years, there's going to be so many companies doing it. It's going to be so cheap. It'll be like air travel.
Quarantined with 3 kids in the house for the last 2.5 months. You can take me outside the galaxy. If it's affordable. I don't get back for 7 years. That's all right.
It's like, there's not a lot of places to go, but you can leave.
Yeah, exactly. Can it be any worse than sitting here in my garage for the last 2.5 months? No. Can I do podcasts from space?
Cannot.
All right.
I do not want to go. I have the worst motion sickness. I would literally vomit on myself for like the 5 years it would take to get there. No, thank you.
I like the reason for not wanting to go. It's not that she's going to be gone, but I get motion sick. I do.
It's a real thing.
Bad. It's so bad. Like, if I get on a roller coaster, which, like, when I went to the Wizarding World for the first time, I rode all of them because I was like, I'm here, I'm riding all of them. Well, I was literally nauseous the entire day. It was worth it, but the trip to space would be longer than a minute on a roller coaster.
A little bit.
I don't know if I can do it, you guys.
I have the same kind of stomach, so I understand. Although I'd like to think I would like to try to go, though. At least, again,
You
Steven,
gotta have
you
a pill
can
for that
go,
by then,
and then
guys.
you'll
Come
be the
on.
judge for me.
I'll let you know how my
Yeah, let me know how the
Well,
trip
it's-
goes.
yeah.
Steven, I'm pretty sure they're
If
not
I
turning
survive.
around if you get sick.
Right. So we're
Like,
sacrificing
I'm not
Steven.
feeling it, guys.
Your head's encased, so if you get sick, it's just
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Just to be clear, we're in agreement that we're sacrificing Steven.
Yeah, I think that's what we came to.
He's the test
That's,
dummy.
yeah.
Why?
It sounds like a solid plan to me. If we get an email back from Steven, it's safe for the rest of us.
And for any new viewers, just so you know, I mean, I'm basically a new viewer, but even I know that Steven just gets the crap end of the deal every episode. So this is normal.
Only when Zach's not
This
here.
is true.
Is it right?
Yeah, I will say Zach gets some of it too. He gets his fair share. So
they hit
I
the
don't
red
get
light
all
for
of
me
it.
at some point in time. So
Everyone gets their fair share. No one is.
Exactly. So
No, Emily, you are the glue that holds us together.
we are so
She makes a good
screwed. So, folks, those of you that watched, me and Emily and Steven have talked about this little project called Sato 48 for a couple of shows now. Real quick, Emily, tell us what Sato 48 is, real quick.
So, Sato 48 is a 48-hour film festival that happens in the Ozark, Springfield area, though we do have people from all over the U.S. doing
Sri
it.
Lanka, the Philippines, just all kinds of great places.
Yeah, we've got all sorts of places, but it's pretty much just you write and film and edit a film within 48 hours, and you have a specific amount of rules that you go through, and you can win awards and stuff if you get it in on time, which
Oh,
did not. But, I guess it's just,
And on our next show, we're going to see why Emily said that. Not this show, but the next show. We're going to see exactly why Emily made that statement. But before we get to that, this year we teamed up with a crew called Amigos Botto to put in a film. And tell us about that experience, Steven.
which experience the?
Were you there for this?
Space, so I'll take over.
I was half paying attention. I heard Amigos Borrow. I'm like, yeah, that's us.
We did
Steven,
a film.
this is why you get all the crap. This is it, man.
No, that's why he was tuning us out.
found out.
Because
So we got together with a crew of Amigos Baro, director by the name of Tom Baker, and we did a film. We won an award, y'all.
Yeah, that.
And that being said, for those of you that have not seen the film or the award show, here is what happened at Sato 48. Play, damn it.
Hey, Jennifer, thanks for joining us.
Hey, it's great to be here.
We're here with Jennifer Johnmeyer, who is the creative manager for Alamo Drafthouse Springfield.
Yes, kind of a furloughed creative manager, but yeah, I'm just chilling right now.
Who isn't some kind of a furloughed something?
Right, I love it.
Yeah. This is Alamo Drafthouse' third year to present the Alamo Drafthouse Recommends Prize. Why keep coming back?
Well, you guys are so persistent. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, the internet cut out. Could you say that part again?
You guys are so fabulous.
There we go.
No, I've loved you and Jocelyn since I met you, and then once I started watching the Sato selections and entries, there was no way I wasn't going to come back every year. It's a delight. Every single entry is more persistent and talented than I could ever hope to be in my filmmaking, which is non-existent. So that makes it automatically hard to even choose, but it's been an honor to be part of it.
Well, thank you, and it's been an honor to have you part of Sato 48. When you're looking at the films, what kind of lens are you looking through that's specific to Alamo Drafthouse?
All right, so kind of a weird one. We have our selections that we designate as Drafthouse Recommends titles, right? So They're usually just lesser known movies that deserve a wider lens and a bigger audience that might not necessarily get one. And also, these titles tend to be a little off the beaten path, a little weird, a little twisty, a little unpredictable, but also just beautifully made. So that's what that's what I cast on my little critic's eye, I guess. Something that you don't necessarily expect what happens, but you have a great time watching it, and it's just beautiful visually.
Well, now, Jennifer, I was asking you about the films. You just described Jaw and I. What is it about films?
Oh, that cutting out. Okay. I guess just something fun.
So this year's crop, obviously, we're going to look back on this and say, wow, how did any of us get anything done? But they did. So without revealing anything, because we're about to show who the lucky films are, what about this year struck you?
Oh my gosh, just the ability to pivot and adapt and overcome. How many different stories were able to be told in isolation, I guess, so to speak. How many people successfully entered. It's for me, it would be a dream to do a creative work alone in theory.
Yes.
In practice? Oh, hell no.
Support.
Right. So I ended up actually, I also enjoyed, though, that I was able to judge at leisure. So that worked against me, too, because I ended up rewatching a bunch of these and changing my mind and rechanging it. And so, but overall, blown away.
And that's a credit to the filmmakers that the films warrant a rewatching.
Yes.
Well, Jennifer, thank you so much for your time and for your support. And we hope Alamo Drafthouse is back with an actual audience and open, and also back for Sado 48 2021.
Absolutely. Heck yeah.
Shit, stop. So what's going to happen is I'm going to play has anybody not seen the film?
I haven't.
I haven't.
In what film?
Oh, good Lord. Brandon, you've seen it.
What are we watching?
Have seen it.
Are we watching Jaws? What are we doing?
Oh, my God.
I'm not sure.
Wait,
Steven.
what are we
Hang
doing?
on.
Man.
Are we still recording?
Yeah.
Is this a show?
Is this on? Is this on?
Brandon,
Oh.
the cat in the screen was so
Really just don't feel well. My head hurts and got shortness of breath, and my skin feels like it's covered in ants.
Think you drank a little too much last night.
Did not drink too much.
No, I think you drank a little more than you think you did. Think you got a hangover.
I drank just as much as you did.
Yeah, but I feel okay.
That's my point. I must be coming down with something.
You just don't know how to hold your liquor.
Look, I really hate you.
How about you go up to the truck and grab you some of that fizzy water to make you feel better? Oh, and while you're at it, take yourself a little poop.
You know what? Fine. I will go get me some fizzy water. But I ain't taking no poop because I ain't got nothing to wipe with, and I've been blocked up for days.
Here. Take this and go behind that favorite shirt. So I need it back.
Oh, my God. But put your damn shirt on. Nobody needs to see that mess.
Gertie likes seeing me with my shirt off. She calls me her little fuzzy bear.
You know what? Not only do I hate you, but you disgust me. Now I do need to take a poop. Give me the damn shirt, fuzzy bear.
I love you so much, I give you the shirt off my back.
Look at this sexy mother.
Yes.
Hello.
What kind of movie are we watching here, Hawk? Feel like taking my shirt off while we're watching this.
Hey, what's up, Buck? When are we getting started?
Well, boy drank a little too much last night. Though he don't like to admit it in front of the lady folk here. He has to take a little poop too to feel
Buck,
better.
I can hear you. Shut up.
Oh, but Buck, I gotta admit it. I'm not feeling too hot myself.
Well, let me tell you something my Grammy always used to say. She'd say, feeling a little under the weather?
Stomach issues, like I said.
Best thing you can do is take a good poop.
That's
cool. You two shut the hard enough without you two idiots talking. Frankie, go get the water out the truck.
Sure thing, Roy. We need to get to work, and we need you in tip top shape. The fizzy waters.
Sure thing, Frankie. You might have to wait until Roy's done, though, to use my T-shirt.
Thanks, Buck. I'll go see if I can use his shirt.
Wish you were here, Gertie B. Spectacular view. Flowers blooming. Bees being. Birds chirping. Roy and Frankie pooping. All feeling better.
Thanks to you two idiots, I couldn't go. I'm gonna try again later, though. Frankie's got your shirt. What is you over here yammering about?
Nothing. It's just a beautiful day today. Feeling any better?
Yes, Buck, I feel fine.
See? I told you. I told you you'd feel better. Well, when Frankie gets done, we'll get started.
Kind of gives me Waiting for Godot vibes.
I couldn't go, but I feel a lot better. The fizzy water you gave me must have done the trick. Thanks a lot for that, Buck. Here you go.
Well, it's the least I can do. You guys are helping me out of a jam and all. Well, let's get started. This old girl ain't gonna dig herself.
Oh my god. Perfect. Perfect.
I'm sorry, Alex.
Yes, weird, off the beaten path, twisty. Yeah, that's us.
Wait. I forgot a part. Sorry, I totally forgot about that.
We're waiting.
We're
waiting.
What did we forget?
The award.
The
that.
post-credit
Yeah.
scene.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you now.
Tom is on his way right now.
Okay, unmute there, Curtis.
Steven's in there somewhere.
Okay, we'll try to find him. Okay, great. Hey, so let's get started. So, because we're on limited time here. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Here is your plaque.
Awesome.
Take it. Take the plaque.
I'm grabbing it right now.
Now let's hear your acceptance speech.
Go ahead, Curtis.
I'm so glad that the Alamo Draft House recognized people that eat dandelions. Thank you very much. It's an honor.
You have something to say, yes.
I am so glad that we were able to do this and stay 6 feet apart, and I was finally able to get all of my shoes cleaned.
Yes, because your shoes not being clean comes up a lot of times in comments.
Well, we were out in a cow field, so.
I see.
Yeah. Probably wasn't a good idea to eat that many dandelions in a cow field.
It probably wasn't.
Well, we're so excited that Feel Better got recognized by Alamo Drafthouse, and they have a lot in store for you guys, and we'll be getting in touch with you about all that. So anyway, we're so happy. Stay tuned for the rest of the evening. We hope you're enjoying yourselves.
Thank you
so much for having us.
Yay.
Back to you, Jeff.
Round of applause.
And back to us.
I was
now
there
when
in
you guys-
spirit.
When you go to the Alamo now, they're going to serve Curtis a plate of dandelions.
I damn hope so. You
Right?
know?
That sounds like a great idea.
I'll make some calls.
Damn it. They
Well,
better.
even the cat liked it. And that was our experience with Sato 48 this year. A lot of that was inspired by our current condition, even though we weren't allowed to talk about it. Speaking of our current condition, let's get into today's discussion. What I've been waiting for. Very excited about this. About, what has it been? I guess 8 years ago? That's not right? 8 years ago?
Sure.
Some folks got together with...
Are we recording?
Yeah, is this on?
Yes. So some
I
folks
see
in
up there in the
Canada
corner.
got together and decided that it was time to have a show on television that nerds can get behind. And they found this weird actor named Stephen Amell, and they made this show. And from that blossomed an entire universe. And before we let Marissa talk, we'll make Marissa last. Go around the room and let's tell us how that universe has affected your lives.
I've watched a bunch of shows that I really probably wouldn't have watched for that reason only.
Joey.
Yeah, I've got to cover the show for a few different outlets, made some friends on some of the different programs. Steven's not going to be able to join us on the Zoom meeting tonight, but a lot of the writers and producers, especially over at Legends, for whatever reason, have had a chance to work with and have good times with some of them. So yeah, it's, the shows, you can discuss the quality of things, but you cannot argue about the quality of the people behind them. And I've gotten to know some of them personally, and they're all, from my experience, have been pretty great people.
Emily.
Arrowverse, yeah, I started out, I think it was weird because I was a little younger when it started. But I know, I remembered seeing my dad start watching it, and he, watched the first season. And then I was like, what's that show that my dad was watching? Because it was so good. And then I watched Arrow, and I watched The Flash, and I kept watching. And it's been, I haven't seen the later stuff, but I always enjoyed what I got. So.
Steven.
Yeah. Kind of like Emily, I've seen a lot of the shows. I haven't seen all the way through any of them, but what I have seen is it's good content.
I don't think anybody's seen all the way through any of them. Those that have are not on the show.
I've seen a little bit of each one, and I enjoy it.
And then finally, the band leader of all of this madness tonight. Hey, Marissa.
I love the Arrowverse, and that is why I'm here. And Brandon and Hawk are here to disagree with me, and that's fine. I've accepted it. I'm not emotionally prepared for this episode of Fanatics and the Fan, but I love this show, and I can't agree with Joey more that whatever you want to say about the plot lines, the characters, whatever, I don't really care, because this is the first really big production on TV that has had trans people play trans people, that's had inclusivity and intersectionality truly, and given opportunity to people that deserve it, honestly. So as much trash as anybody wants to talk about the plots or whatever, I don't really care, because I'm really proud to be a fan of the Arrowverse for those reasons.
Okay, so that being said, that's all we're going to have to. Let me find that button and mute Marissa for the rest of the show.
Yep. Hey.
let's talk about the plots and the stories real quick, because that's what we do here. We talk about that more than anything else. Joey, at any point in time did you say to the show, let's start with Arrow. Actually, let's start with any of them, because I went the entire Arrowverse. At any point in time, did you think any of the shows took a turn so far left that it was
Yes. Oh, what was the question? Go ahead and finish your question.
Yes.
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 Yeah, I mean, when you're making that many episodes of programming, season 3, pick season 3 of any series that's been on the air for more than 3 seasons, and season 3 is a tough season to pull off for any serial programming. And season 3 of most of these shows kind of at times felt like it went off the rails narratively.
All of them, I think.
But the ones that have gotten to season 3, yeah, it's tough, but it happens. I mean, I can think of a ton of other series that have gone off the rails in season 3 as well. So it's what happens. But
I just like Joey, it was. Can we move on to the next question? It's not even like that's a real question.
But I'll take, and it doesn't matter what it is. You take the best of a series and you compare it to the worst episodes in that series, and some of the best episodes from the Arrowverse, the positives far outweigh the negatives of slogging through a terribly told story with some, like, okay, clearly y'all ran out of special effects money and it's just like cobbling together what you can hear, but that's okay because
to a Flash
or multiple times on different series. But you compare that to, for example, the very first season of Arrow is one of the best seasons, 23 episodes front to back of a series on television. Mm-hmm. It's not diminished by the fact that some of the other seasons were not as tight, because that first season was. You look at some of the best, some of the most insane episodes of Legends of Tomorrow make up for some of those episodes that you got to slog through, because for every episode you got to slog through, you're going to get an episode with singing killer puppets or whatever. So it's a balance. It's a balancing act, and it's hard to pull off on any series when you have that many episodes. But top to bottom, if you look at just the pure number of episodes in the Arrowverse, yeah, you're going to get some winners and you're going to get some stinkers. But
so let me ask you guys this, because one of the things that I can say in positive about the show has been the casting, especially in the earlier seasons when it really mattered. And I'll start with Marissa, since she's got the biggest love for the show, and we'll go around the room again. What's been your favorite casting choice? Just one, Marissa.
That isn't even fair. Whatever.
Well, that's life. Deal with it.
I really love Grant Gustin. I mean, I just think that he plays the Flash so well. And I know there's a lot of people that don't like him as the Flash, and here, whatever. But I just think he encompasses everything about Barry Allen perfectly.
Brandon.
Manu Bennett as Slade Wilson.
That's a good
that was amazing.
Not gonna lie,
that was amazing. Emily.
I would say Grant Gustin, but I'm going to choose someone different because she already said it. I like Wentworth Miller as I just think he's so good, and whenever they go back to the other episodes where they like switch personalities, I just think he's so amazing.
Steven.
I think I am going to go with Grant Gustin as well. I think I like him. I think he embodies the Flash well, and I like Ezra Miller too. But as far as the movies go, but as a series, I think.
And the incomparable Joy Mills from Pop Goes the Culture, who knows all these people, who's seen all this stuff. Who would you say is
personal friends, right?
Special friends, all of them. They have him over for dinner when they have leftovers.
Not so much. Because there's a lot of doubling up on Grant, I'm going to take 2. And I'm going to that's my privilege to do that. So I'm going to say the most important characters they cast, and there's 2 of them. I'm sorry, the most important actors they cast for the 2 most important characters on the entire Arrowverse as a whole. Number one would be when they recast the role of Sarah Lance and picked Katie Lutz to go as that, because she is the one character that you can weave through all of this.
Yeah.
And she does it with humor, with drama. Spot on casting there.
I would maybe change my answer to her now that you say that.
She's so amazing.
That's why I get two, because I'm going to give you
Yeah.
But the one character that I think that you don't have any of this without. There's one actor playing one role that if they didn't nail this right, this whole thing is, we're not talking about this because it's a one season, it's a one and done. And that is David Ramsey as John Diggle, because he is the heart. He is the conscience. He is the morality, the spirit, the soul, whatever you want to call it, of this whole thing. And if you don't have him as a foil to Oliver Queen, as a partner, but also as the sounding board and the rock that this whole thing's built upon, then you don't. Then it's just a rich white dude with anger issues running around shooting people with a bow and arrow. If you don't have the heart and soul of the series, so we've seen that this weekend. I don't know about the rich part, but we have seen the rest of that. So if you don't nail those two, if you don't nail Diggle, and if you don't nail Sarah, you don't have the Arrowverse. You have a season of a show called Arrow.
Mm-hmm.
So now my choice is going to be unique because it's technically not a part of the Arrowverse, but it is as an addition. And I think this casting was I actually don't like the guy. And in the work that he's done, he's gotten one role that I like, and it's this. And it's Matt Ryan as John Constantine. He's you couldn't ask. They rewrote Constantine in the comics to match the Constantine that we're getting right now.
Look, it's cheating.
Well, you can send Mr. Berlanti an email with your name on it. I am perfectly okay with him as Constantine. I preferred the Constantine before he joined the Arrowverse, if that makes sense, to the Constantine that he is now. But as a whole, I think it was a great idea to do that. Now, show of hands real quick, and this is just the DC comic readers. Who do we have here as the actual comic book readers of the DC universe? Brandon is. I can't see if his hand is up.
It's up.
So that being said, for just us three, has there been a story that they've told that they shouldn't have, in your opinions? And actually, you guys, we all can answer it, but I specifically want to know about the comic book guys because we read the comics. And I'll start with Brandon. Is there any stories that they've told that they shouldn't have tried because it was just too hard for them?
There's a lot with the Flash that especially in later seasons, that they've tried to pull out that I've just. Yeah, that's one of the shows that really started to lose me, is when Flash started to go downhill, and Flash was the rock. I mean, Arrow was great, but when Flash came out, that was what solidified this as must-see TV. And
is there a standout for you though that you're like, please don't do that, please don't do that?
Not specifically, no.
What about you, Joey?
Yeah. Season 3 of just about any series, but the two seasons, both Arrow and Flash had some questionable choices in their season 3s. Season 3 of Arrow, we had Oliver Queen was killed and resurrected by Ra's al Ghul. Not resurrected by Ra's al Ghul, but so you could do that, and then you've got, I believe it was season 3 of the Flash, with Savitar, that whole storylines. Again, season 3s are hard because you go into these things with ideas to get you through the first couple of seasons. Like you have a roadmap for season 1, and then you've got some pretty good ideas where that's going to go in season 2, and then it seems like come season 3, you're like, hey, we got the 3rd season, now what?
Anybody else?
Those two, yeah.
Anybody else?
Nothing that stands out.
I feel like it would be kind of dumb to say some things should be off limits. Not dumb, but I feel like you should have a certain amount of freedom with storytelling. You should know your limits, but you should also know that there are possibilities. I think that I feel like for avid comic book fans, there can be things that, like, if it's not done right, then you shouldn't do it. But I don't think that there isn't a way that it can be done right, if that makes sense. I just think.
So that answer, my answer is going to be Crisis on Infinite Earth. Should not have been done by the Arrowverse. It's just too big of a story. That's just my opinion.
I'll see that, and I'll raise you a Flashpoint is half an episode. I would say that was
disappointing.
Yeah.
Get me started.
Yeah.
Flashpoint is half, or 3/4 of an episode is Flashpoint. Yeah.
Literally.
And I'd like to just say I didn't need Bebo.
Oh God, no.
Oh, I love Bebo. We can stop this recording right now.
We're done. It's over.
We're recording around.
I tease. Go ahead.
So I agree with you, Marissa. But here's the reason. Here's the thing about Crisis. And Joy and you and I've talked about this a bunch. It's
Probably
the biggest story in the comic, the most successful in the comic. Correct me if I'm wrong, Joey. There were hundreds of heroes involved in the comic. Correct?
Yeah.
And they reduced it to 6 or 7 or whatever. No. Just leave it. Just listen. Yes, Infinity War made a ton of money. You're not going to get any of that money by doing Crisis on Infinite Earths on the CW. It's just not going to happen. You want Infinity War money? Make a good movie.
Yeah, that's the only thing is that I feel like, the DC movie universe, the DCEU, I don't know, one of them. Yeah, the DCEU, it's not being very successful as far as, like, it's not making as successful movies. And so the Arrowverse was kind of the DC, the part of the DC universe that was actually getting pretty successful. And so I feel like they were like, oh, we can pull some strings, but it's still like on a CW budget. And so it's like, how much can you really do with that,
And on that note, real quick, final thoughts, because I truly believe that the Arrowverse actually has affected us all in a way. Brandon, Shane, what would you say the biggest influence of the Arrowverse has had on pop culture?
He's gone.
Unless he is Supergirl now. I don't know that he's there.
Okay, and let me start that over again. Joey Mills.
There he is.
Hey, he's back.
Brandon.
All right, let me try that again. Let me do that. I'll do that whole spot again. So that
you're fine. Just leave that in.
Okay, we'll leave it.
We'll leave it.
Yeah, we'll let him go last. Joey Mills.
Yes. What has I'm sorry, I was busy looking for Brandon. You said the question again was, what impact has the Arrowverse had on pop culture?
Yes.
It's exactly what Marissa said. It's the fact that you can be successful and show a variety of different people as heroes. It doesn't have to be the standard, for lack of a better term, Marvelized version of a hero. Everybody can be a hero. Being a hero is what's inside of you and what you do with it, regardless of who you are, how you look, how you choose to live your life. And that, I think, is the single most important, because without that representation on screen, there are lots of people that are not seeing themselves represented as heroes. And I think that the Arrowverse making the decision to, you know what, we're all heroes, everybody can be a hero, I think that's the most important thing that they have done in pop culture. And that's a reflection of the writers' rooms. If you get to know the writers' rooms, these people are writing themselves as heroes, and every one of them is doing a fantastic job of that part of it.
Steven.
I can't say it any better than that. I mean, really.
Emily?
Well, I guess continuing on that point, it's again what Marissa said in the beginning. We have an actual trans actor playing like a trans person, and we have, gay superheroes and black superheroes, and we've got women superheroes. Even as mainstream as people think that is, there's still less than there should be. And so I feel like there are still people that are mad that Captain America is black now, and I feel like with Arrowverse, it's an opportunity to showcase the ability to have so many diverse people in one spot and being seen as heroes, and that it can be possible and it can be very successful because they're still here. So, and they're not, honestly, probably not going anywhere anytime soon. So,
Marissa?
So to just give a different answer, I mean, I stand with what I already said, but I love that they're writing storylines, especially in Supergirl, that are basically parallel to our current situation in the world. You know, when Trump was elected, a lot of that political stuff was in Supergirl. I like that they're doing that and they're making it relatable in a different way. Instead of immigrants, it's aliens, you know? And I think that it goes with what we're all already saying, but just if you look at it a little deeper, you get that in the Arrowverse.
More like symbolic and metaphorical.
Yeah.
Brandon?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not going to go with such a serious and deep answer because I feel like that we've already well explored that. But, you know, for pop culture, the Marvel TV proved that it could be done. DC Arrowverse has proved that you can be successful at building a world on the TV on the small screen.
Nice.
And so that's really given us it's given us more nerd to watch, more than most of us can even do in a normal setting. So
yeah, I mean, think about how much superhero is on the CW now as opposed to like Riverdale.
Here's my take on all of it, and I'll be as quick as possible. I remember seeing the first trailer for Arrow, thinking that is not the Green Arrow. And of course, like most nerds, I was skeptical. And then they did a thing. And then I saw the first trailer for Black Lightning, and I'm like, yay, finally a black superhero on television. And then they did a thing, and it was so much better than I thought it was going to be. And that is, if you can take away nothing from the Arrowverse, take away the fact that they're doing the thing for people like us. They've basically rewritten the face of both comics and pop culture television, as well as fandom. And that's awesome. And with that note, we've got another surprise for you. When we come back right after this, you're going to find out about this wonderful television show that the person should be right, but believe me, has been watching since she was in diapers, and she thinks is amazing. We'll discuss that. But I got something special for you guys to see right after this.
I first met Hawk on set. I think it was day 9 of our shoot. We were filming at Gailey's Breakfast Cafe in downtown Springfield, and Hawk showed up as one of our background actors that day. I later learned that he had been attending John Avul's acting class, our acting coach, and one day we just needed a bartender. So I contacted Hawk and was like, hey man, would you do this part? He readily accepted, and he plays as Ralph the bartender. We actually didn't really have his name as Ralph until we were there. What really stood out to me about Hawk was his ingenuity to come up with things for his character to do without having to be told anything. I thought it was very interesting because one of the things that he came up with, I think it was to do crossword puzzles. And in both of the scenes at the bar wasn't very busy, and we wanted it to feel kind of empty. You know, he kind of knew Vince and Paul, the guys that would come into the bar. And Hawk, he just did a really good job at staying focused on the crossword puzzle, but also being aware of at what point in the scene to come do his other things. And his blocking was really good. I think my favorite moment on set with Hawk Holman was after we were done filming that day. I wrote him out a check, and he looks at the check, tears it up, throws it behind him. He says, get that out of here. Just get the movie done. That's all we want to see. And I appreciate him and a lot of people that ended up donating a lot of time to making this film. Hawk was wonderful to work with. He's a lot of fun, and I'd definitely work with him again.
Yay.
Yay.
Oh, that's nice.
So I see it takes money to get people to say nice things about you. I got you.
Yeah, you're like, I won't, I'm not taking your money. And they're like, okay, I'll be nice then.
Can I catch you a promo?
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, at least 2 other people were a part of this project. They're in this crowd of people. Is Marissa dead? Okay, there she is. There she is. Just checking. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys have moved. So, one guy is this way. He was in it, or no, maybe not. And then the other female is this way. She was involved.
Who's he talking about?
Wait, who are you doing? We're all in different spots.
You're all above me,
their
so
name.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
I was not a part of this.
You weren't? Why not?
No,
Were you an extra?
I wasn't
I was
with.
an extra.
I thought you were.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't acting at that point. I was not.
That wasn't acting. That was just from the heart.
Awkward. That was life.
They didn't want Steven to take his shirt off, so he opted out.
Yeah, I was an extra in a dinner scene. What up?
Nice.
We'll be able to show you that movie eventually. A lot of great things coming up for Fanatics and Fan. Like that. Of course, if you've been watching our Wheaton Watch Party Wednesday, we're coming to very close to the end of the series Firefly. Zach has been a joy to endure that with. We're at the end of that series. We're going to watch Serenity, and then we're going to tell Zach that it was only 1 season in the first place. So, I'm a very cruel person, not going to lie.
Sure, he probably knows.
I hope he doesn't.
He did have a message for you, Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
It was fire me or not, Jane sucks.
He hasn't got to the end of the series yet. It gets better. I think
Jane doesn't get better until the movie.
No, well, you really see motivations from him in The Message. When he got the package from his mother. It's like, thanks for all the money. It's like you really see.
Can we take bets
why.
that Zach's going to cry during the message?
Oh, I almost can guarantee it. That's probably one of the most emotional of the episodes. That's
this week, this coming up week. So that ought to be interesting.
That and trash, right?
So we are joined by the great Joey Mills from Pop Goes to Culture. Where's he at? He's over there.
Woo! Now he's over there.
I'm here.
You guys do polls every week, and you got a lot of stuff going on. Tell me about cast and some of the other stuff that you're doing over at Pop Goes to Culture.
Oh, we're doing it all. We do a podcast. That's how this thing started. You can catch that every Thursday night on Cast or Friday in your podcast player of choice. We're streaming whatever we feel like streaming on Cast on the weekends. Usually a movie on. We're usually doing like The Last Drive-In from Shudder on Friday nights. We usually pick a movie to do on Saturday nights. Sunday nights, sometimes we'll grab some wrestling or whatever, just whatever people kind of want to watch. That's one thing that we do. Dakota has started a D&D Zoom campaign. The first episode of that launches on Monday, June the 1st. We've got a couple of those in the can. With Jen from the Alamo that you saw earlier, we're actually starting a new podcast, recording it on Monday, June 1st. That'll be on Wednesdays that'll come out. So I don't know. I'm doing a lot of stuff. Check us out, popgoesculture.com.
And on that note, folks, I know that everybody's at home and you're probably sick of your family. And I've said since day one of this particular crisis, just binge watch television, play video games and watch television. And
I only have an old Wii. I can't play video games. I have to only watch television.
Oh no!
And it gets bad after a while.
Emily.
What?
I just don't even know what to do with you sometimes.
Me neither.
So a while back, after the success of a television show called Monk, the folks over at USA came up with another idea for a TV show that they thought would be successful. And I got to say, they were. and it pits two pop culture fanboys against all of the crime, the vicious, horrific crime that plagues the great city of Santa Barbara. All the crime. They have all the crime there. They have everything there. Tell us about this show, Emily.
Okay, so Psych. What a show. So Psych is like, your run-of-the-mill detective show, except if you've ever heard of The Mentalist, that may or may not have copied off Psych. Who's to say? The main character is pretending to be psychic the entire time. And I'm not going to spoil anything, I guess, but it just starts off where his father is a cop, and his best friend's a pharmaceutical salesman, and the antics are real.
8 seasons. Okay, let's start with that. 8 seasons, 120 episodes. Some of the greatest guest stars in television history, especially as far as pop culture is concerned. Ridiculousness Emily, can you recall of any time that they got serious?
Yeah, there are a few. Like some of the super serial killer episodes where they're like, well, shit, stuff's actually going down. But even then they have those moments where it's like, it's still funny, it's still a comedy show. It's not it doesn't ever get so serious that it's hard to handle. But even the more serious moments are they make the show better and they make you enjoy the show more. So I think there are serious moments, but they don't overshadow the comedy and vice versa, which I think is good.
And that's because of the chemistry and the timing that all of the actors have on the show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not just James and Dule. I mean, but Timothy Amundsen as Lassie is.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's hard to think of it without him.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The upcoming third movie?
Yes,
second movie. So show's so good they've gotten 2 USA movies, TV movies, and the second movie is literally titled "Lassie Come Home" in honor of Timothy. This man is. I mentioned it in our last episode that this man is a just baller. He is so GOAT. The man had a stroke, has lost feeling in at least 30% of his body. He is still acting. He's in the movie. He's also in the TV show This Is Us. He's had a great career before he got Psych. Completely different genre when he got the show, and he has been amazing.
Yeah, he's incredible. I think it's really interesting because, I guess all of the main characters are very different people, and it's cool seeing all these different personalities in one place, especially with Sean, the main character, and Lassie, who Timothy plays. It's so interesting because it's the whole time they hate each other, but it's a love-hate. They can't they can't do it without each other.
I think it's just hate at first.
It's only
At least in Lassiter's end.
It's hate at first, and then it's annoyance for the rest of it. It's familial annoyance. It's why are you still here? It's coronavirus familial annoyance.
That's a whole nother kind of annoyance.
Right. It's new. Just made it up.
Show of hands, because I don't know if you guys know it, but all of you that are looking at your phone and not the screen, you're actually on screen right now, Marissa, Brandon, and Joey.
I'm on my phone. My screen's
listening.
on my phone.
So now, who's watched all of the show?
Hey.
Which is why we're looking at our phones.
I haven't seen everything. I have not seen it all the way through.
Now, Brandon, this is your kind of show. I know you've watched some of it.
I've watched the first 2.5, maybe 3 seasons total. It's just been one of those that I watched it when it first came out, and then I'm a binger, And if I don't have a show to watch, then I forget about it. So it's just been one of those that there's so much TV that's come out since then that I've not had the opportunity to go back to it.
Ironically, Joey touched on this earlier, and then Emily said something about it herself. And I think it all boils down to this. And you guys correct me if I'm wrong. One of the biggest problems with Psych is it was so sterilized as far as they had a thing. He was a fake psychic solving crime. So that limits you to a lot of what you can and can't do. And after a while, it becomes, oh, well, didn't they already do that? Or isn't that do something new? I would say 8 seasons is very successful for a show that was so limited. What do you think, Joey?
I never saw an episode of the show.
Oh. I bet the 3rd season was probably rough, though.
No, the 3rd season is really good. Like, I was hearing you talking about it earlier. I was feeling it. I was like, yeah, 3rd season's, man, at like the lowest point, but season 3 of Psych.
Actually, so season 3 of Psych.
Remember how I talked about all those episodes from the Arrowverse and having to cover them for different sites and travel and do stuff? Yeah, Psych slipped through because I was busy.
Busy. No, yeah, I think Psych is one of those shows that even while it is it's hard to, if it's just a singular topic, it's like he's a psychic that solves crimes. It's hard to make it original every time just because of he's going to be solving crimes. It's like a show like Criminal Minds where it's like how many crimes can I think of, But they do.
How weird is it that they're still on the air? They've done 11 seasons, if I'm not mistaken, 10 or 11 seasons.
Yeah, and I feel like with Psych, because of the added comedy, they do a lot better at kind of creating something new every time. And in later seasons, it gets rough, but none of the show was actually bad. Like, but I think they were like. They ended on season 8 because they were like, it's still going good. It's not as good as season 1, season 2 or season 3, and going up. It's not as good as those, but it's still good. And we're going to end here so that it never gets bad. Like, that was the big thing.
How they want it to end.
Yeah.
The sheer volume of pop culture references was amazing. Explain to me, because they had a musical episode. They had a post-show season finale thing. They've done 2 movies. I guess the movie's done. Was supposed to come out last year. Hasn't come out yet. Should come out this year. Don't know when. They did. Now, Emily, explain to everybody that does not know, what is the deal with the pineapple? Because they used that in Chuck later on.
Yeah. I feel like I knew that, but it slipped my mind, and then I was like, oh yeah, they did use it in Chuck. But
they did.
But the pineapple, so it started off as just like kind of like, oh, there happens to be a pineapple in this episode, and then they were like, okay, well, we got to commit to the bit. So now there's like a pineapple in every single episode of Psych, and there's like a thing where you got to find the pineapple, and it's a fun scavenger.
Apparently, that was improvised.
Mm-hmm.
James picked it up.
James Roday,
and it stayed in, and because of that, it became pop culture history. Some of the people that entered our Sato thing, their thing was they had a pineapple in the background a couple places. So yeah, obviously,
it's wonderful.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
Brandon. Mm-hmm. Psych is clearly a fanboy thing. Would you say it was a help to fandom, or is it part of us now?
The thing with that, especially any long running season that has this kind of scope, it's not what you would immediately consider nerd TV. It's very broad reaching. It's something that reaches across to so many different people and genres. But it is one of those things that you obviously can't obsess about a pineapple in every episode, and that's the kind of thing that fandoms love is to be able to obsess over little things. So,
yeah, and I think fandoms of Psych over other shows. I think it's psychos, if you will. It's what they're called. It's what we're called. But I think it's just interesting because, yeah, you can obsess over a pineapple. You can have a drinking game over when Sean refers to Gus as a really weird name, or just anything to do with Sean and Gus's friendship. Like, that male friendship is something I would never want to tarnish ever.
Can we talk for just a real brief second? And I'd love for even those that have not seen the show, I need this to be real brief. How baller was it to have such a diverse, at the time, friendship that was serious? This was a hardcore friends for life, ride or die friendship. And it was a classically white guy, the son of a cop even.
Yeah.
And, Dule Hill. There's no other way to say it, guys. I mean, this was, it was a bold move. And even though it wasn't the 60s or whatever, it was still,
I mean, you had them, and you had Turk and JD.
Exactly.
Scrubs. I mean, those, about around the same time. But
exactly. It was still a baller move, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and also to have two male best friends that, are just, again, ride or die, not afraid of the affection that they have towards one another. I think that's, really good. Which is, I mean, not that all male friendships, but, it's just a good example to have of a male friendship that's I love you. I would never want to lose you ever. And even at the end when they're I'm getting married, and he's like, I want to marry you, but Gus will be there. You gotta know that Gus will be there.
Marissa.
I have a question because I don't watch the show, but you guys talking about these two characters kind of reminds me of the Winchester brothers on Supernatural, and how those actors have worked together for so many years, which it sounds like the show is similar. Are the actors best friends in real life as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because it always sucks when you hear about best friends in shows and then the actors hate each other, and you're like, no.
Yeah. It's
and
at one point you watch and you wonder how can they be best friends considering how Sean treats Gus, and then you look at, and as Emily said, or Steven said, I can't remember who said it, is the Scrubs same type of relationship even, and you're like, all right, I get it, you guys got it, you guys rock. But it also tells to the fact that they absolutely cannot maintain a regular relationship of any kind with a regular.
I think it's just a matter of they're family. They're not just friends.
Yeah.
They're family, and it's whenever you have family, it's I don't know. I feel like me and my sister, or me and my brother, or anyone in my family, we fight, but we don't love each other any less. And I think that's the important part of their friendship, is that they've grown up together. They know each other's good sides. They know each other's bad sides. They get in fights over those things.
Yes.
But they always make up because they just love each other, and that's what's most important. So I like that's something that we have in our television.
Because I mean, they are really nothing. The characters are nothing alike at all.
Nothing.
Throughout, I think Scrubs with Turk and JD. You could see that there. I mean, they've got things in common.
Right.
Gus and Sean.
And Gus have their childhood in common. Folks, you were watching a very special binge TV watching.
He's not even going to address it. Look at that. He's just going to move on to the
Fanatics and the Fan. Real special segment here to come up. We started a top 10. Well, this episode's top 10 is going to be a top 5. Top 5 Arrowverse villains versus the top 5 guest stars on Psych. We'll see it right after this.
Hi, my name is Emily, and we are doing the top 10, or I guess top 5, for both Arrowverse and Psych. We are doing the top 5 Psych guest stars, and Marissa will be doing the top 5 villains of the Arrowverse. So do you want to start, Marissa?
Sure. Okay. I have number 5 as Rain on Supergirl. I loved watching that character develop. I loved the split personality type situation. It was very Enigma to me. I am a big Riddler fan, so to see a female version kind of like that was really cool. I loved the little culty sister witch moment that she got to have with Purity and Pestilence. I thought that was really cool because I'm a big fan of that kind of old world dark magic meets modern villain type situation. So she's my number 5.
Now, I loved Rain. I remember watching Supergirl, and I loved Rain. I think for me, I guess this might sound odd for those of you that haven't seen Psych, but my 5th guest star is Kurt Smith as Kurt Smith.
What?
He shows up. Yes, he shows up every now and again. He sings some of his songs. And he's like, he's hilarious. The first episode he's in, it's like this really rich dude has like hired him to work a party, but then they were like, stay the weekend. So he's just like singing songs. And then like, according to what some people say, he starts singing the song by what they say. And he's like, Kurt, what did I tell you about going off what people say? It's so funny. And then sometimes he just shows up in later seasons. It's pretty hilarious, but yeah.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. My number 4 is Captain Cold. I mean, first of all,
yes.
If you don't like Captain Cold, just get away from me. I loved him in his evil form and his quote unquote good form. I love him with Rory, and I don't know. It's just the perfect amount of dry, sarcastic humor with a touch of evil. And I just think that is like a classic comic villain trope, and I think he does it perfectly.
And number 4 would be Tim Curry as Nigel St. Nigel. And it's so funny. It's in the yes. Anytime Tim Curry is on screen. It's in the 2nd season premiere of Psych, and it's the episode called American Duos. And Sean and Gus, in order to figure out who's trying to kill Tim Curry's character, they go on this American Idol-esque show to try and save this Simon Cowell type guy. And I think it's hilarious. There's so many bits, and Tim Curry is just a gem in everything he does. So.
My number 3 is Alice. I think that she is an incredible villain for Batwoman. I'm going to just say right now, spoiler alert, if you have not watched Batwoman, you need to probably speed through what I'm about to say. She's a psycho. She's an absolute psycho. She will slit your throat for nothing, for no reason, just because it seems like fun that day. I loved that they gave this character to Batwoman who is family. I loved that the thing with Batwoman and Batman is that they have had injustices done in their family, and that is something that really drives their character. So to have this villain be a part of her family was like perfect for me. I also love that they show with Alice how these psychotic villains actually most of the time go through some sort of very traumatic event. And have a lot of PTSD, and they basically talk about mental health through her character. So I also appreciate her for that.
So my third guest star is Jimmy Simpson as Mary Lightly. And he's just a character that comes in during like the serial killer episodes, specifically the serial killer Mr. Yang, because he's like this like weird guy that's just like, I know everything about this serial killer. And sometimes John and Gus are like, is he the serial killer? Like, I'm not sure. But he's just a weird kind of like fanatic about the serial killer. And so like he always adds something interesting. And even in later seasons when like racquetball is the thing, because when they finally catch the killer and he's like, what do I do now? And they're like, try racquetball. And it's like, okay. It's pretty good. He's a very interesting character.
My number 2 is Harrison Wells as Reverse Flash.
Yes.
This particular villain for the Flash team and that, Earth, I mean, it threw everyone for a loop. No one saw that coming. And on top of that, I just want to say that Tom Cavanaugh has played like 25 different Wells characters and has completely done an amazing job with every single one of them. But that one in particular, I felt like Harrison Wells as Reverse Flash was one of those characters that's just insidious. He just, I mean, that felt like such a betrayal so deeply that I can't say, if someone said that they weren't if he wasn't on the top 5 for their villain list for the Arrowverse, I would just be like, why? Like, that was one of the biggest, most personal betrayals of the entire universe, in my opinion.
We're down to 2. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So my second one is Ali Sheedy, who plays Mr. Yang. And it feels like such a twist that this big serial killer, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody. I feel like I already have. But this big serial killer is a woman. And it's so interesting, and because like even when they catch her, they bring her back and they ask her about other serial killers, and it's really interesting to have her involved. And it's the Yang episodes, the Yin Yang episodes, are the best episodes of Psych. And she really adds so much to the show, and also changes the main characters a lot too, because they have to learn how to actually, like, this is serious. It's back in the other episodes, back in what we were talking about earlier, is like, it's not a serious show, but the moments where it is serious, they hit different. And Mr. Yang, and Mr. Yang is one of those moments where it's like, oh, literally, if we don't catch this person, then someone's gonna die like in an hour. Like,
there's no if, they will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And she adds so much. She adds this crazy and creepy, over the top humor. She's so brilliant. And if anybody doesn't know who Ali Sheedy is, she was in The Breakfast Club, number 1.
Number 1. Malcolm Merlin. 100% my number 1. First of all, if you don't like John Barrowman, get away from me.
Get out of here. Yeah. Another Doctor Who person.
Yeah, Captain Jack for life, always.
Wow.
Yes. The thing about him that I love is that I do know this about the comics. I haven't read all of the DC comics that have to do with the Arrowverse, but I do know that he's considered the Dark Arrow. And I love that they had that included in the show, where it's like, we have the good, we have the bad, and on top of that, this is a person who's really connected to Oliver Queen himself, And then, further on in the show, we find out that he's Thea's father, and how Malcolm looks at family. He cares deeply for family, but he has this really twisted sense of how to take care of people. And he has a really twisted sense of like how to make the world better. Mm-hmm. And I think because of that, because of all the interminglings, it makes his character as a villain just have a lot of depth. I was super happy that he was a part of the show.
Okay, so my favorite guest star on Psych is Kerry Ellis as Pierre Despereaux. And if you know anything about Kerry Ellis, you'll know him from The Princess Bride and other like 80s stuff. Like so brilliant. He's that character that's kind of with them, but also kind of against them. And in later seasons, you learn more about him. He's this art thief that they have to try and catch in Canada. And the whole thing about it is that it's a perfect crime. And so he's this charismatic British like art thief that they're like, that Sean's kind of like in love with, but also like gotta catch you. Like, even sometimes when they're like, you killed a guy, dude. Like, why would you do that? I believed in you. And he's like, I didn't do that. Mm-hmm. Well, you've been watching the Fanatics and the Fan Top 5, not Top 10, with me and Marissa. Hope you guys are having a good COVID-19 day.
Yeah, no kidding.
Have fun, guys. Bye.
Bye.
And we are back, and that has been another great show of Fanatics and the Fan. Yay! Woo! We have missed you guys, of course. We will continue. We're trying to get back on a normal schedule. It's very hard to get Brandon to put pants on, so we have to do it like this.
Who said I had pants on?
Hey.
Yeah, really. It's like
we gonna get sued.
I am in my own home.
And Emily just increased our viewership. Coming up on Pop Goes the Culture, Joey Mills.
Oh, we got all kinds of stuff. Every day there's something new. Just check out popgoestheculture.com because there's literally stuff happening every day on the website and on YouTube and your podcast players and on Cast and social media, and just popgoestheculture.com is kind of the hub for everything. So check it out there. You can find links to everything through the website.
And you can find us, of course, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, as YouTube, as well as popgoestheculture.com/Fanatics and the Fan.
Or just type in fanaticsandthefan.com. It'll redirect you to Pop Goes the Culture. Don't know if you
Joey
knew that.
What would we do without Joey Mills?
By the way, how about your website?
Joey, Emily, Marissa, Brandon, and Steven, my name is Hawk, and you've been watching Fanatics and the Fan.
Ooh.